SAINT RD is compatible with two cassette sprockets, which are all mountain mode and downhill mode. Let's start installing and pay attention to the most important things, like the mode setting and the adjustment.
When you use all mountain mode with a wide ratio cassette sprocket, perform the installation together with the mode converter. When you use downhill mode with a close ratio cassette sprocket, remove the mode converter using a 2mm Allen key. First, let's mount the rear derailleur to the frame. Check by hand to make sure the rear derailleur is attached firmly to the frame end. Then adjust the top side. Turn the top adjustment screw to adjust so that the guide pulley is in line with the outer line of the smallest sprocket when looking from the rear. Now let's try the low adjustment too. Turn the low adjustment screw so that the guide pulley moves to a position directly in line with the largest sprocket. Next is the installation of the chain. You must be careful of chain length when installing the chain to bicycles with rear suspension. The length A, which is the length between the rear axle and the center of the bottom bracket, changes depending on the movement of the rear suspension. Because of this, an excessive load may be placed on the drive system if the chain length is too short, and this may cause damage. So set the chain length correctly by adding 2 links when the chain line is on the largest chainring and the largest sprocket. After finishing the installation, make sure the rear derailleur is attached firmly to the frame end. First, check that the B-tension adjust screw does not touch the bracket. If the bolt touches the bracket, just loosen it until it doesn't. And check that there is enough slack in the outer casing. Then align the outer casing with the bottom edge of the outer casing holder at the rear derailleur and cut off any excess length of outer casing. Also, the distance between the outer stopper and the outer casing holder of the rear derailleur may change when the rear suspension moves. So determine the length of outer casing at the point where that distance is at its maximum. Also, when you change the setting of the mode converter, adjust the length of outer casing from the beginning again. Specifically, when you change from all-mountain mode to downhill mode, the length of outer casing becomes shorter than the required length, which will influence the shifting performance. Make sure that the outer casing does not project outside the rear derailleur when looking from the rear. Connect the inner cable to the rear derailleur. Make sure that the inner cable is securely in the groove. Take up the initial slack in the inner cable and then secure it to the rear derailleur once more. Set the inner cable so that it protrudes by a length of less than about 30 millimeters, and then check that the inner cable does not interfere with the spokes of the wheel. First, mount the chain onto the smallest chainring and the largest sprocket, and turn the crank arm to shift gears. Then turn the B-tension adjustment screw to adjust so that the guide pulley does not interfere with the sprocket, but not so close that it touches the chain. Next, set the chain to the smallest sprocket and repeat the same procedure to make sure that the guide pulley does not touch the sprocket. And next, check the distance between the largest sprocket and the guide pulley. Set the rear derailleur to the largest sprocket position, stop the wheel from turning, and then check that the distance from the edge of the guide pulley and the edge of the largest sprocket is within the range of 5 to 6 millimeters. When you select downhill mode, set the rear derailleur to the smallest gear position. And check that the distance from the edge of the guide pulley and the edge of the smallest sprocket is within the range of 5 to 6 millimeters. Turn the crank arm to shift gears and check that there is no roughness in the feel. Also, if the number of teeth for the cassette sprocket is changed, carry out this setting again.
The installation of the outer casing and the final adjustment is the same as all other Shimano derailleurs. And please always follow the service instruction manual for the best shifting performance. Finally, let me give you the most important points for the adjustment of the rear derailleur.
If you replace the rear derailleur by disassembling the tension pulley, be sure to remove the E-ring first.
And also, always confirm the mode when you assemble the bike. Please also check the readjustment when you mount the rear derailleur.